Hey, Ben.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I was just touching down from the lunar surface to do this little stream today. So I hope y'all are doing well.
I love the what is it? Astronaut helmet? I don't know
Just
what's
an astronaut helmet, yeah.
yeah. I love that. Um I did not see you wearing it a second ago when we were
Yep.
chatting.
I forgot to mention it. I was like, well, we'll keep it authentic, keep the reactions real.
I love it.
Yep.
Give us the context.
The context. Oh boy, where do we begin? I'll take this off for a little better audio. Now that we're back on Earth. So, little context. I mean, you pretty much nailed it in the intro. I mean, just go to the website. The mission statement should describe it, right? It's a way to build websites. It used to just be a way to build like statically generated websites. If you've used something like Gatsby or Jekyll or Hugo, you're probably familiar with that term.
Yeah.
But now we've released a new feature that lets you deploy all of these websites that you make to serverless functions and edge functions and Deno servers if you want, anywhere that you want to sort of adapt. Astro is there to help you. But the gist of it is, you start writing all of your pages with plain HTML with some nice templating in it. We'll get into like the sort of JSX-like syntax that we offer. And from there, you're able to import any component that you want. It could be a React component, Vue, Svelte. Any framework is supported with a plugin ecosystem. So you could support your own if you want to go build that. And then you can just plop them on the page and decide if you want to add JavaScript to those components. So you could use something like, So you could use something like React. Like if you have a bunch of Material UI components laying around, you could spin up an Astro project, just build some plain HTML with some styles. And if you need a carousel, you import the carousel component, you hydrate it, and you put it on the page. And then everything works pretty magically how we've set it up today. We're trying to make it easier and easier.
Okay, awesome. Let's see this magic in action if you're ready for that. There we go.
Let's do it. All right. So I spun up a little online editor to try these out. If you ever want to try Astro, you just go to astro.new, this enormous text here, and you can spin up an online editor with any of these examples. We have a thorough set of using your favorite component frameworks, adding Tailwind to a project, using Markdown, since we support putting components in Markdown in a kind of MDX way, but with anything. So if you want to throw Svelte in Markdown, Vue in Markdown, that's a thing too.
Okay.
And then some templates for more complex things like SSR right here.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
and
also feel free
to tell everyone what SSR is.
Yes, thank you. Well, it's server-side rendering. So instead of building your website up front based on some data that you might have, it's actually going to put a dynamic JavaScript function out into the ether. So anytime you request something, like I requested a photo with a specific date, which we'll demo in a minute. And when I go visit that URL with that date, I want to dynamically fetch some information from that date and then display a unique page to that user. So instead of knowing like every date up front, you could just set up a little function that takes in the date, validates it, and goes and requests some information based on that. So that's the new thing for sure.
Gotcha. Awesome. Thank you.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely stop me at any point as we're going through this. I'll try to demo like a few features here and see where we get. I have just set up an online editor with the basics template. This is a new template, by the way. And if
actually, I'm going to stop you right now. Do you think you can make your words a little bit bigger? Could you zoom in?
I should. All right. I hope that looks good. Yep. Yes. You'll notice it wraps text too. So, if we're dealing with the big view. It's tough because some people watch like coding streams on their phones. Y'all are crazy, but I respect you for trying. Like, man,
it's the dedication. Tough. It's the dedication for me.
It's the dedication. Yeah, we gotta show them some love. So, all right, we got our dev server running here. I think I accidentally ran it on a 3001 since it had an old editor. So let me make sure of that. Cool. All right. And I should have everything set up with live reloading as well. So when I edit text, we can see it without even saving because Stack Blitz has that automatically. But you'll notice if you like clone this into your local editor, it should be really quick too.
Okay.
And I guess the first thing that I wanted to show off was like, let's fetch some data from somewhere and put it on the page. So anything inside of this top bar is going to run either at build time if you're using the defaults, or on a serverless function request if you opt into that. So yeah, as it stands, it's just going to be build something at build time. And I'm going to use this NASA API function. If you don't know, NASA has a public API of a ton of cool things. You can set up an API key and it spits it right out. Like, you don't have to wait for any request here. It's super casual.
One of my
and then
favorites.
you can, yeah.
No, I was just saying the NASA API is one of my favorites and like the first API I used. Keep going. Sorry.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like it's kind of a sort of gem. I know a lot of people use the Pokemon API when they're doing demos, and it's like,
that one's
come
good.
on, you got
You
a
don't
whole
like that one?
galaxy of stuff. You're gonna show me Pikachu?
You got to
I
do
don't
something
know.
for the anime lovers, but I love
Yes.
the NASA one just as much. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my hot take is it's a little overplayed because it's just such a good API. I get it. But yeah, we'll just we'll ping this super simple one here, just photo of the day. You send it a request and it gives you back the photo for that date. And we'll wire up an API key as well. So here I'll just request a space photo. And this is the front matter is just a JavaScript block. So it provides a few niceties like top level await. I can just use the word await and it'll work.
Oh wow! I was gonna be like, oh, you made a mistake, but no, that's not.
No.
That's cool. Okay.
Yeah, you know the pain that it can be to like write an async function and then call it. Yeah, don't have to do that. And you can run fetch. This is actually going to be server-side fetch. So either in Node or if you chose Deno, which is now an option, you could run it in Deno. And yep, remove those new lines. And this will request a photo of the day. I'll put in an API key as well to avoid rate limiting. So in order to import API keys, by the way, you can use this syntax. A lot of people are used to process.env, but this prevents you from having to like set up .env and all of that stuff. So
wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's a funny one. But once you have that set up, that should pull in this NASA API key. And I just put it in a .env file so y'all don't see it. But just know that if you put anything in a .env, it'll automatically get pulled into this guy.
Okay. And this is like just making sure that's a Astro thing. The import.meta.env is an Astro like feature.
Yes, kind of. It's like because you can also use this inside of a Vue component, Svelte component, etc. So anywhere that JavaScript runs, this still works.
Okay, so, I never knew that.
Yeah, it's we use a bundler called Vite, which is sort of a new kid in town. If you've used Webpack before, it's kind of just the new Webpack with a lot of niceties. And one of them is setting up environment variables. So yeah. And from here, I'll just do convert to JSON. And to see what result we're getting, I'll log out the space photo. We should see that in our terminal now. And it's got an explanation, which we'll use as alt text, and it has a URL. So with that, whenever you declare a variable up here, it's just ready to use inside of your code. So if you use curlies, kind of like React, you could say, well, actually, I'll create an image element and then set the source to spacephoto.url. And we should see that pull in. And then the alt text to space photo explanation. Or title, maybe, since it's shorter text. That's probably what screen readers would prefer. Well, we got that now. And of course, it's very large because it's pulling in a high def image. So down here, you can write a style block inside of an Astro file, and this will create scoped CSS. So when I'm styling H2s, I'm styling the H2s in this file, not in the whole project. So
gotcha.
Yeah, it's a nicety that I know Svelte uses, if there are any Svelte fans out there. But I'll just target the image element on my page, and I'll set the max width to 100% so that it squishes in. And now we have a nice banner image. with library loading and such.
I love it.
Yeah.
Wait, so just to make sure, the only time I've seen CSS within like I guess a component would be like a styled component. Is this the same concept, or what is different about it versus like styled components?
Yeah, so styled components, I know, generate a component. It's CSS that outputs a JavaScript component.
Yeah.
And in our case, since we're compiling this file in JSX, they don't normally like compile the file, so you have to use workarounds like style components. In here, it is taking in this style tag and then turning it into scoped CSS on the other side.
Okay.
So it's comparable for sure. It's something that we recommend that people try out. Like here, you can see it's putting on an Astro class.
Gotcha.
Bump that up. But yeah, it's generating classes for all of our stuff.
Perfect. I love it. Thank you for that clarification.
For sure. And to call out, like, if you want to use React inside of Astro, you will need to like bring your own stuff. Like you can't put a style tag in a React component and expect it to scope. So you can use whatever tools you want. The whole point of Astro is like bring what you like. But as like the baseline where you make your server request and where you start rendering HTML, we give you some like good helpers. So yeah, if we have time, I'll also show off SSR. But
yeah,
I know
we do.
Right.
I want to check if there's any like questions.
Oh yeah.
That. I see people saying hi Nick.
Hello.
Hey, there's a lot of people that know you and are supporting you. They're like, go Ben.
I'm glad. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, and someone agrees with you about Pikachu.
Overrated? Ooh.
Yeah,
Right.
they said that's the truth. Fetch is built in to Astro as well. I remember that from the last stream, I believe. Okay, cool. And then someone said import meta .env comes from feat.js. Okay, cool. So no questions, mostly just comments. But if y'all have questions, feel free to like throw it in the chat.
Yeah, for sure. And all those comments sound right to me. So yeah, glad we cleared it up. So from here, a nice thing about StackBlitz now is you can install stuff and you can just run this like a normal terminal. Okay. So I'm going to add a dependency in here. This is going to be an SSR adapter. Okay. So we offer a ton of adapters. Like if you want a Netlify adapter to deploy to Netlify serverless or Netlify edge, those are options. That's sort of my like deployment target of choice because it's really nice to use. But for simplicity, while we're like deving here, I'm just going to turn it into a node server. So like if you want to throw this on a Heroku box, old school style, that is what the node server is for. And to wire up the server, I'll head over to my config and I'll import the node adapter here like that. Okay. And then in the config, I can wire up the adapter so Astro knows to deploy it to a node server now. Okay. So with that, I can restart the dev server. And it should now look exactly the same because we want to keep the DX pretty much the same if you change your deployment target. Okay. But now we've unlocked sort of dynamic SSR features. One of them being if you wanted to have a dynamic route. Like if I wanted to get a space photo on a specific date, I could make that a URL parameter. So square brackets are a special thing when you're naming files, where if there's square brackets around it, it'll just be plopped into a variable that you can use inside your code. Okay. So yeah, inside of a new block here, I'll actually just copy over the top part that we had here, since we'll do something pretty similar. Except now, instead of just loading the latest photo of the day, we can add in, I'll turn this into a template string too. I know that's the new hotness. Let me go ahead and do that. And then put that in here. Okay. And alongside this, something NASA API offers is setting the date. So I will request a date that is inside of the parameters that Astro provides. So the Astro global is a special object that contains all of the information about your page. It could be, was this a post request or a get request, if you want to handle it like that? Or what are the parameters that were passed in the file name? And that's going to be inside of params. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
So
And I have a quick question that's
mhm.
kind of irrelevant, but why is this just like your style of doing the little dashes at the top and the bottom of your imports, or is that an Astro thing?
Yeah, that is an Astro thing.
Okay.
So anything inside of these fences is going to run on server request, and
Okay.
anything below the fences is going to run in your browser. So this is
Got
like literally the dividing line from this is on my machine and this is on your machine.
Gotcha.
So
Okay, cool.
yeah, if you've used something like get static props in Next.js, it's kind of like that, except instead of a bunch of exported wrapper functions, it's just some dashes and
Okay.
it compiles away. So now we have our space photo that should be pulling in once we request a dynamic URL. Like if I requested the photo on March 1st, 2021, we can see that in our terminal over
Oh, wow.
here. Yeah, so now it's pulling in 2021 when we go visit that URL. And I can just put that in an image tag. Ooh, that's not the keyboard shortcut. So if I just grab this same image request that we were doing earlier,
Mhm.
I'll wrap it in the same layout. This is how layouts work, by the way. Layouts are just components that you
Mhm.
place on the page.
That makes sense.
So yeah, and the layout is just an HTML tag, basically, with
Mhm.
a few default styles.
Okay.
So now if I put that on the page, we get a photo for March 1st. Now we can get a photo for March 2nd and March 3rd and
Wow.
so on. So now you have a server that's set up to pull anything from the NASA API if you want to.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty easy to set up.
This is cool. I'm impressed. I wanna try out Astro now. Like, I've heard a lot of
It's
talk
fun.
about it, but haven't touched it. I love that, and okay. I'm trying to see, like, I had another question
Mm,
about it slipped my mind. I think could you go back to the index.astro? Let me see if I could remember.
yeah, sure.
Dang. I don't remember, but I'm sure it'll come to my mind. Sorry about that. But this is
We'll get it
very,
at the end.
very, very cool. I love it. Yeah, anybody have questions? Where is Ben's astronaut helmet? Yes, that's
You
the main
missed it.
question. You did
I
miss it.
promised on Twitter I would bring the helmet. That's all I promised. It doesn't even matter what we discuss. I'll try wearing it
The
for the
people
rest of the
aren't here for
stream.
the code.
Oh no,
Wait, is
we're
it not
here.
in there though?
We'll do a little fan service, you know. I mean, the people want what they want. It's fine.
I'm dead. Oh man. Okay, this was like a really awesome demo. I'm pretty interested. I don't see any like and other questions. But we can like chat because I would love to know more about like your journey into open source, or just what exactly like more about what you're doing at Astro or any other things you want to promote.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
So we
cool.
can switch back to the main cam if you prefer.
Yeah. If you
Um,
had nothing else to show, because I remember you saying you had two things. Were these the two things?
oh yeah, I mean, I can show off adding Tailwind to the project if we want to check that out.
Ooh, show that off. Yes.
Sounds like maybe. All right, all right. It
If
should
you're
be
ready.
quick.
I don't want to put people
Should be
on the
quick.
spot,
Oh no,
but
it's as easy as one command. So if you want to add Tailwind to a project, or if you want to add React, Vue, Svelte, anything that we call an integration, you
okay.
can in your terminal run Astro. I can't see my keyboard because astronaut helmet. Astro add, and then the name of the feature that you want. So here I'm going to add Tailwind to my project, and this updates my config for me, and
Wow.
then installs the dependencies for me. So go ahead and do the npm thing. And over here, we can see in our config, it's wiring up Tailwind as the integration now. And then the last thing it'll do is generate any files it needs to. Like here, it's going to generate a Tailwind config for me, so I don't have to go figure out what I need. So
Oh my
that's all set
god.
up. And now we've unlocked Tailwind if we restart our server. So heading over
Wow.
here, we should get the same page. There's not much different here. I think Tailwind actually resets some styles so that the image takes up the right width of the screen. That's nice.
Yeah.
But heading over here, I can hopefully apply a little rounded corners maybe and that should appear on the other side at some point. I hope. I ran into some issues with the online editor recently. There we
Oh,
are. All right. So now I can edit that to medium and
yeah.
double XL. Maybe that's not a thing, actually. Maybe it's just 1XL. There we go. So
Awesome.
now we got that set up. And if you have VS Code, this should offer some like autocomplete and documentation as you're typing out Tailwind classes. I know there's a separate extension for that. But yeah, that's one of many things that you can add.
Or GitHub Copilot,
Or Copilot. I'm more of a tab 9 person right now. I don't know. Is that heresy? I think it is.
Yeah,
I don't think I'm allowed to say that, actually. Oh boy.
Well, I'm open to all developer opinions, but I'm just saying.
But there's one that's more right,
Yeah.
a little bit. It's just this
Yeah.
feels a little funny. I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope y'all got your Twitch highlights. It's a little hot in the helmet, but yeah, it's a fun time.
That's what I was gonna ask. I was like, it gotta be hot in there.
A little bit. It's a little echoey, as you might imagine.
Yeah.
But it's lightweight. Yeah. Full disclosure, it was the cheapest Amazon option, but it does the part. It looks good.
I love it. Nick asked the question that actually I was gonna ask you. Are you still working on Slink? Like, I hope I'm saying it right. Slinkity.
You're right. Yeah, I was actually on the show last time. That's how I heard about GitHub Open Source Fridays. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But I am still working on it. It's where I started learning about like how can I add React, Vue, Svelte, etc. to a static website really easily. And as you know, Astro does something very similar. But Slinkity is focused on using Eleventy. So if you're someone who likes the Eleventy ecosystem and prefers how they sort of give you data, they have a unique way of doing that. I still think Slinkity serves a need for just people that have an Eleventy stack and don't plan on moving off of it. I do now recommend that definitely try both before looking at Slinkity first. But at the moment, I'm just getting Slinkity to work inside of serverless environments. And because Eleventy can now run in serverless as well, which is very cool. And from there, I hope to hit 1.0 and potentially hand off to another maintainer that can focus on it in a more like full-time basis. So anyone in the audience who loves Slinkity, I am open to anyone who wants to like more actively maintain it. It'll always have a place in my heart, and I'll probably stay in the org indefinitely. I just want to see. I want to see what's going on. Because it's my first open source baby. I care about it. But yeah, definitely focusing a lot on Astro now that I've like really seen what it's capable of.
That's really thoughtful of you to not just abandon the project, but pass it on to another maintainer potentially. And I can imagine it's got to be a lot to balance to like maintain your own open source project, and then also you're working at a small startup that has their own open source project. So completely understood. Yeah, y'all heard that call out. Hit up Ben if you are interested in helping out with Slinkity. My other question to you, which these are like more fun questions since we are coming down to like last 3 minutes. What's your favorite food? Nothing to
favorite food. Yeah, you actually mentioned them. I got to prep. Favorite food. Like it changes now that because I'm around the New York area, been enjoying a lot of food here. Yeah. And what's been the best one? I mean, KBBQ. Been addicted to that. Korean barbecue. They just have a whole different idea for spices and everything. I mean, it's just fried chicken, but it's spicy. It's got the best sauces. It's so good. So yeah, that's my current pick, but it changes all the time.
That sounds like an awesome pick. I'm vegetarian, so I have never tasted it, but I hear people talk about it a lot. So
yeah, I mean, spices. My thing is like I could be like a pescatarian. I think that's how you say it. Yeah, like honestly, like salmon's probably my real favorite food, like of all time. I'll just eat it like breakfast, lunch, dinner. I don't care. Maybe not breakfast, but like I'm definitely a fish person. Like if I gave up meat, I couldn't give up fish, but I could probably go without other things. That's kind of where I'm at.
Gotcha. No judgment on the meat eating. I just always been vegetarian.
Yeah.
So it's just
I've been
that.
curious about it. Yeah. It's at least nice to go like part-time vegetarian where it's
Yeah,
like
I think
for some meals.
that's cool. Like you could do vegetarian for lunch. Somebody named Builder Vision said Astro is it. At first I read
That's it.
Astro is lit, but yes, I agree
Both.
with those
We
statements. Yes.
support lit. Lit's a framework. We support it.
Wait, lit is a framework? I've never heard of that.
Yeah. It's a way to write web components. It's called
Okay.
Lit Element. I think people just call it lit though.
Okay. I love that.
Yeah.
And then my last question to you is what's your favorite Beyonce song?
Yes. Had to do a deep dive when you suggested. I was like, okay, we gotta prep. It's like I found this track, Beautiful Liar, with Shakira.
Oh, that's a
And I
good
was like,
song.
how did I never know this crossover happened? Like that was like prime, like I guess it was like middle school or earlier, so I'm not that surprised.
Yeah.
But man, I missed out. That goes hard. That is a good
That
track.
was good. Nick said not Destiny Child, full Beyonce. Yeah, and he
Mm,
picked full Beyonce. I mean with Shakira, but yes, I have nothing
yes.
against Destiny's Child though. Like I'm here for Destiny's
Yeah. I don't know why that's ruled out. That shows you're a real fan, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, this was really, really, really awesome. Like demo was on point. I'm convinced now you've properly advocated and I'm gonna go try out like Astro this weekend. I hope
Nice.
the other viewers will too. If y'all have any questions, let us know. But I do wanna promote a couple things for Ben. And the first is follow him on Twitter at bholmesdev. Not Ben Holmes Dev, which I made the mistake of,
No.
but B Holmes Dev. And then also Astro is having a hackathon. So join the Astro hackathon at astro.build/hack. Do you have any more information on that? Like
Yeah.
when? Yeah.
Yeah, it's I think there's about a week and a half left. But it's meant to be more of a weekend project to try to build either something with SSR as we demoed today. So if you build a website with it, you can submit it and talk about it. Otherwise, we're trying to build integrations like that Tailwind integration I showed you, like integrating anything that you like in development, try to make one of those. And themes. So if you want to make like a blog starter with really nice styles, you can whip up a theme and then we'll showcase it on our themes page. You don't have to win for that. We showcase all of our themes. So if you want to go check out those options and also 5K in prices for each of those, there's money on the line.
Ooh,
So
get your money,
yeah,
people.
there's money, people. There's money. Not always true for open source. So you got to shout it out. But
Yeah.
yeah, astro.build/hack, all the details are there. And we have a pretty big like Discord channel where we're answering people's questions, giving feedback on ideas. A few teams formed in there. So hopefully we made some friends as we're working on stuff. So yeah, check it out.
Awesome. And then we have two last questions before we go. One from Kevin that says, "What's your favorite thing about Astro?"
Favorite thing. Oh my God, it's all so amazing. So
He's like everything.
I feel like it's just like I've talked about this where I don't even talk about like the performance story of Astro. It's really performant because you can just like only ship JavaScript components when you need them. But my thing is it's just so easy to write content with Astro. Like you can just import Markdown and it works, and you can just start typing Markdown, and pretty easy to integrate with CMSs too. That's something I'm working on personally. Is like how could I set up with my Contentful CMS, for example, type all of my stuff in there and quickly import it into my Astro project. It's probably the best sort of framework to solve those content creation problems. So that's definitely what I'm looking at. And when I mean content, I mean like marketing pages, personal blogs for sure. E-commerce is the next frontier that we're trying to make more and more streamlined. So all of that stuff, like that's definitely my jam.
Really impressive. We have. Oh wow, the questions are coming in. What was your
Oh boy.
most surprising thing that you found when you came into the Astro project?
It's funny because since it's an open source Discord, I knew all of the people going in. Like it would have been way scarier if I just didn't know the team. And it's like, we're a startup, you want to join. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Surprising. I mean, whew, let me think on that. I mean, it's surprising. It sounds like it's got to be something spicy. I mean, most of my surprises have been good so far. If that's allowed as an answer, like people actually responding to PR reviews like really quickly. That's not always true. From the last company I came from, it's like everyone's working on their own thing, heads down. But
Yeah.
around here, it's like we have a dedicated channel for shouting out PRs and get a lot of action from people who aren't on our team because it's open source. It's easy to get reviews. So that was surprising to me is like people are willing to hop in and help out. Like not common for a company. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
I
very
was gonna
unique.
say I love when I see a company um promote that culture of like helping. I was at one company before where like helping was just like pushed to the side. And then I went to another company and they were like, let's prioritize that. So I really love that. That's how
Mm-hmm.
we grow as a community and as developers. Princessa said, I thought your favorite thing about Astro was the VS Code extension. You're betraying me, Ben.
Ooh, yeah. If you don't know, she manages all of the language tools, so a little bias in there, a little bit, but totally right. I forgot about those to be honest, but we have so many like autocompletes now where it's like if you type out little things in the framework like Astro dot whatever, you'll get documentation and links to our docs when you're editing the file, which like is a really big deal because since we own the .astro file extension, we can own all of the framework documentation too. So it's
Yeah.
like kind of second to none already, and we've just spun up like these language tools in less than a year. So yeah, it's wild. Definitely try it out in VS Code. You'll be happy.
I'm impressed and excited to check it out. I just made a VS Code extension the other day. So yeah.
Ooh, I will say those are the one PR reviews that I don't totally understand. They're in the weeds for highlighting
um
stuff. Yeah.
let me just see what the other stuff say and then we'll wrap up here. I've been building a website with Astro and headless CMS lately. It was very delightful. Someone said hi. Hey Oak Tech,
Hello.
VS Code LSBs are no joke. Well done, Astro team. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with
No
how
joke.
quickly y'all did that.
I
Awesome.
know.
Cool. I am going to wrap up. Thank you all for joining and participating and chatting with us. It was nice to see like some familiar names in the chat. And then also thanks Ben for taking the time to share everything about Astro. I'm like super excited about like your direction or Astro's direction and your direction as well. Super excited to see where y'all go. Thanks so much, y'all, and we will close out here. Bye.
Awesome. See y'all.